Welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. My name is Julia, and I'm with Julia Sue's Stamping. Today, I'm really excited to bring you a technique called black ice. Have you ever tried this technique? It adds such a cool, elegant, and yet it's so easy look to your cards that it's just going to amaze you. Using a little bit of foil, like cardstock or specialty paper, whatever you want to call it. I like to use window cards with this. In fact, I've made a whole series of window cards using this technique because it's so easy and super cool looking. Use for any kind of occasion and you're going to love it. So, I'm from Northeast Ohio. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, so everything I use is Stampin' Up! Let's go ahead then, grab your favorite beverage or your snack, maybe even some supplies, and let's get started. Here are the main supplies that you're going to need. You're going to need some silver and gold foil sheets. I'm using brushed silver and brushed gold that Stampin' Up! Sells. And you could use a favorite punch or a die. Here I'm using the stylish shapes. You're going to need some StazOn ink. And for making this card, I'm using basic black cardstock for the base and, basic white. We're going to go ahead then and cut out the shape using the cut and emboss machine on the foil cardstock. And here they are all cut out. You can see with the stylish shapes you have this really cool stitching. Now once you have your shape cut, you're going to grab the StazOn ink and you're going to gently swipe it across the foil in one smooth motion. And here's a pro tip for you. Make sure you swipe it in the same direction as the brushed lines on the foil. So this is going to give you a sleek frosted effect that makes this technique so unique. I go all the way off of the paper and then down every time. Now you can go over it again if you want. You don't have to just do it once and call it good. You can do it again if it didn't get quite the darkness that you want. And there, all the way down the paper. So I go ahead and put that back on, and I always store these inks upside down. The StazOn is going to need a few minutes to dry, but if you're in a hurry, a heat tool will do the trick. And I really love how the ink interacts with the foil, giving it a cool, edgy texture. So I have some that are already dry here. I'm going to go ahead and use this one to help show the rest of the card. Folding over the grid paper so that I can use it again without worrying about getting ink on myself. All right, I am using the Spotlight on Nature stamp set for this card. Specifically this, I'm going to use the thanks and also the splatters here. I'm going to ink it up with the Memento Tuxedo Black ink and stamp this leaf image onto the art piece. That turned out beautifully. Closing it up for the moment, I put some adhesive on the back and then I figure out where I want the card, the art piece to be, and place this down on the card. There, now I can take this piece off. You see how it's a little crooked, but that's okay because once I put this on, I know it's going to be exactly where I want it. I'm going to use a lot of dimensionals on here. I am a happy dimensional person with this project. Usually I'm very careful about being selfish with my dimensionals because I like to have that be something that lasts a really long time. With this card though, I tend to use a lot on the back of this foil. So I'm generous with the dimensionals in this card. Now I'm going to go ahead and place it right on top of that art piece. How cool is that? Now for the inside, I'm simply going to stamp that splatter I was talking about earlier, opening up the ink again. And now I'm going to put the splatter just on the edge here, having a little bit of fun with it. And I'm turning the stamp every time I'm using it, just right at the edge of that cardstock. All right, I'm happy with that. I'll put that onto the inside of the card because I'm extremely good at losing things. This way I'll keep from losing it. And set it inside. Perfect. And now for the sentiment. With the memento, I'm going to stamp the thanks onto this perfectly sized piece. And then I'm going to adhere it to this little piece. And with some dimensionals, I'll pop it up. Using the dimensionals with the foil piece really helps the raised window effect just pop right off of the card. So let's talk about color combinations, shall we? I used this card and I made it with the silver as well. So there's that one. How fun. It's very pretty. And using the spotlight on nature, I also, so it was a portrait style. For a more, let's talk about the color combinations though. Each one of these brings a different feel to the black ice technique. So for example, I created this Highland Heather, very soothing looking card. It's got the Highland Heather cardstock paired with the silver foil. I stamped the sentiment from the Hope You Know stamp set in gorgeous grape for a really nice contrast. And inside I added a little bit of soft sea foam for a pop of freshness. The sentiment area was I used the nested essentials for that. And I think that turned out very, very nicely. For a more autumnal vibe, I went for Cajun Craze as my base and I paired it with the gold foil. I used the autumn leaves die for just that light large leaf die, and I love how warm and inviting this card feels. Inside there's a little touch of calypso coral for a fun contrast that really complements the gold foil. So how fun is that? And then I have a more subtle earthy card using a basic beige and old olive. This gold foil adds a luxurious touch while that old olive ink for the sentiment and surrounding the gold foil kind of balances everything out. I think this one is just a perfect thoughtful card with that thinking of you today. I absolutely love how all these cards turned out. Every single one of them has its own unique vibe, but they all use that same black ice technique. So whether you're going for soft tones like this Highland Heather or bold autumn shades like the Cajun Craze and Gold, there's a lot of versatility with this technique. Thank you so much for crafting with me today. I really appreciate it. So, if you haven't tried the black ice technique yet, I suggest that you give it a go. It's super cool. I think you've seen how easy it is, and it's addicting once you get started. You're going to see so many possibilities for this really cool technique. You have to do it on the foil though. So just get your hands on some and get started. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure you give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button so that you can get more crafty fun right away. Tell me, what colors or designs do you think you would use this technique on? I would love to know. All the details from my blog and website are down in the description, so please check it out and leave your comments about what colors or designs you think you would use this technique with. I can't wait to hear about it. So I hope that you have fun and that you keep on crafting. Bye.